What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another wonderful, exciting, marvelous episode of the People of Packaging podcast. I think it's safe to say I have never been more excited to talk about how packaging is delivering an incredible user experience that I am right now. So I'm excited, I'm honored, I'm blessed to be joined by Tatiana Chamorro. She is the CMO and founding team over at Toucan Cocktails. And I'm not going to spoil it by showing you what they've made. But let me just tell you, this is some of the coolest packaging I have ever seen in my life. And so I think that you're going to agree. You better. If you're listening to a packaging podcast, what else should we talk about other than incredible packaging and to be joined by the CMO that has helped start and found this company? So with all that being said, let's get this interview here with Tatiana.
It's a little bit of a different process, but I will say we nerded out on every aspect of the decision-making process on design, the type of product, the type of printing. And I will say a lot of that was John who came up with the idea. But even the selection of color for the ring. I mean, we did iterations on seeing if we wanted to color code the ring per flavor, if the black ring would be better. And we tried a million different things before making the decision.
Hey, Tatiana, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Now, it's very rare that I get to have a podcast guest who is also a seasoned podcast host. So it's exciting. I can't believe what you guys have built too. I'll be completely honest with you. As just like a packaging nerd, I'm like, I want to just jump right into the packaging. But first, I want you to introduce yourself. And then we're going to introduce Toucan Cocktails and why every packaging nerd should be packaging nerding out about what it is you guys have built. So first of all, just tell us about yourself.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me. What an exciting introduction. You don't get that often, and also from someone who has a podcast on packaging. So what an honor. My name's Tatiana. I'm originally from Nicaragua. I've been here. Now I'm from Dallas. I've been here for over 12 years, and my background is marketing. So I started off as a designer. I like to joke that I started as a designer, then turned a marketer, then turned an entrepreneur. And yeah, I have ADHD. So here's where I am, and it's been very exciting. But starting off as a designer, you can imagine the excitement of being firsthand into building something that is so heavy on design and packaging and everything else. I then moved on to marketing. So I launched my marketing agency. I exited my marketing agency in 2022. And Toucan was actually one of my clients. So in the process of them going from idea to MVP to launching into market, I sold my agency and I came on board as a CMO and a founding team.
I think that was an incredible move because my guess is that you're gonna absolutely crush it. I was talking to a team member of mine here at Label King, and she was telling me she took a packaging class at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and part of the class was that they had to come up with a unique packaging design. And I guess the professor said, but I don't want to see alcohol with a mix separated because a college student tries to do, and it hasn't really been done yet. And I'm like, well, until now, like I'm showing it to her. She's like, it's actually really cool to see that somebody's actually done it, built it, started to scale it. There's a ton of things to go through on the packaging side of this. But I think first, I know when we spoke in sort of our preliminary talk, you mentioned that the packaging that you've arrived at today was certainly not what it started with. So let's go through sort of the genesis of the maybe the iterations, or just like, other than, hey, this would be a really cool idea, like what prompted the founding team at Toucan Cocktails to really dive in and go for this?
Yeah, so it all started with John and Steven when they were doing their EMBA at SMU. And it was really just an idea to solve what you were saying exactly. Good cocktails are freshly made. And they have certain things that make them a good cocktail, like high ABV, actual shot from an actual bottle, premium spirits, fresh mixers. And the challenge was that the RTD industry was launching a lot of innovation, but really the innovation was all about flavors, and it was pre-mixed. So there was no way that you could really have a fresh cocktail. So that was the first idea that came to mind. And part of I actually have something really cool here to share with you. So I have the lineup of where it all started.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a 3D model that was done during their EMBA course, and it was.
I'm gonna because I want people to kind of see the lineup here. So if you're watching this, I'll come back on here in about 30 seconds. But this is really cool. So this is the lineup you were talking about. So the first one is on. I'm looking at the screen. Yeah, there you go. So go for it. You can chat.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the first one. This is, as you can see, a 3D model, and it was on the idea of a shaker. So they wanted it to really look like a shaker. Right here, the MVP was really just in ideation stages. So there's no division of the flavors. There was still the concept of dividing the spirits from the mixer, but it was still just the ideation. Then we launched into market with our MVP. The MVP had
stands for what does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. No.
Minimum viable product.
Got it. Okay.
And so basically what it would do is you can see how it turned from, okay, the concept of the shaker, because the shaking of a cocktail is one of the basic things that will make a fresh cocktail. Steven is a biochemist. So there's a chemical reaction that happens when alcohol and sugars mix and they sit pre-mixed. Right. And that is the reason why companies will use lower percentage ABV so that it has a longer shelf life. But it's also one of the reasons why it starts to taste a little funky. You need to use other types of preservatives, et cetera, et cetera. So this came from innovation on thinking scientifically. The alcohol would be held on the top can, which is the little one that you see here. Okay. And the mixer would be held on the bottom can. And so basically the idea was same concept as we have right now. You open it up, you pour it in, you snap it back, and it turns into a shaker, right?
Yep.
Couple of complications that happened during this process. John and Steven launched a very small MVP. So they did a trial. And one of the things that it would do is it would leak. And that's not fun if you lose half of the cocktail while shaking.
Now, was that because the twisting wasn't really like creating a very good seal? Is that what was happening?
It was because there is no twisting. It was just putting it on top.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah.
So, but to your point, twisting would have been a great solution. However, one of the things that has been a core element as we're building is we're building for distribution. And so John has experience in alcohol sales on the side of distribution, and he used to actually sell into accounts. So he understands what accounts are looking for in order for a product to move in distribution. So if we would have moved into just doing it like this, that would have made it harder because that means we would need to do a custom bottom can.
Correct. Yeah.
And scalable, that's going to be too expensive, too complicated, right? So thinking more on a solution that would fix the problem we had at that time, Steven, who's also an engineer, created this ring that connects the can in the top with the can in the bottom, but also seals it so that when you shake it, there's no leaking. Yeah. There you go.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. The other important transition that we did on this final iteration is that the top can, as you'll see, has a different shape. This one was custom designed because initially we really wanted it to look like a shaker. But because it would have been custom designed, it was going to be way too expensive to do it at a scale. So we moved on with 100 ml small top tin can, which makes it much easier because this exists in the market. The only thing that makes us different from anything else right now in terms of the usage of the can is that this opens 360.
I know. Yeah. I was actually, when I got this and I was looking at the tops, I was like, wait, am I just going to try to pour this in? But I realized I'm like, oh, it opens like a can of tennis balls.
Yeah.
It was really, and I can kind of, here,
well, let me walk you through the process.
Okay. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. So I have a margarita with me. What flavor do you have?
I have two. So the first thing I wanted to point out, by the way, before we get into it is, by the way, shout out to Cork and Bottle in Monument, Colorado. I live in Salt Lake City, but I was in Colorado last week and went to my hometown, and they had these. And the person at the front was like, "No, we sell a lot of those. Like people love Toucan in Monument, Colorado." So, but so I got this one, and at first I was like, "Oh, are you shrink sleeving the top? Like, is this a shrink sleeve down here and a shrink sleeve up here?" But what I realized is no, there's an outer clear shrink sleeve with one of my favorite things in a shrink sleeve, which is the zipper perf.
Yeah.
Where because it's so obnoxious, and I don't know how many times I said this on LinkedIn or on my podcast, but for brands to add, for you to add this zipper perf should cost about $0 because a shrink sleeve still has to go through a seaming process, and the perf, which is kind of here on the edge, these perfs can be added during the seaming. It doesn't slow it down at all. So I loved that you put in, I don't know if you can see here on mine, but I love that you guys added these little, the little perf notches because of the user experience. It makes it so much easier to just, grab it and then start to peel it off and zip it right up. And that was, I did want to point that out, that maybe that's one of those details that I'm guessing you made intentionally, but man, these shrink sleeves can be so annoying to get off of things.
Yeah.
And it comes off super easy. So kudos to the team on that one.
Well, I appreciate that. I think at the core of everything, we look at the business and anything that we build and sell as consumers, not just as business owners or, an expert in marketing. We look at it as consumers. And what you explained is literally the process in which we went through, which you would think it's easy to make that small change, but is more complicated than it sounds because not everyone is doing that zipper sleeve. Now, I will say, though, that we moved away overall from the shrink sleeve because it was just,
because this one didn't have it on there. And I was like, oh, and can we, before we break these apart, this bottom can, and I'm not sure if I don't know if I'm going to be able to really do it justice, but you can't see, but this is clear. This is a direct digital print onto the can.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it when you feel the can. Like when you run your fingers over the UPC, you can feel that it's raised up. And that is a new technology, but is one that is really, really starting to scale up. And this direct UV inkjet onto the can is a tremendous way to avoid the secondary labeling or shrink sleeving of the can after it's filled, and be able to bring these things in. So you can, like, even just that little detail of like scalability, right, is like, that's a great way to scale. The top though is not. So what was talk to me about the differentiation between, like, you can direct print with a traditional print on this vodka. This is not aluminum, right?
That's tin.
Tin,
yeah, because we have the spirit on top. So aluminum wouldn't have worked. And we want to have a stable long-term shelf life. So that was part of the thought process as well.
Yeah.
The top can, there's not a lot of places where you can find a top can like this, especially not if it has a 360 opening.
Yeah.
So it actually comes directly from China. It's the only item that we import directly. The bottom can is printed here in the US. And then we fill in both here in the US with our product. So it's a little bit of a different process, but I will say we nerded out on every aspect of the decision-making process on design, the type of product, the type of printing. And I will say a lot of that was John who came up with the idea. But even the selection of color for the ring. I mean, we did iterations on seeing if we wanted to color code the ring per flavor, if the black ring would be better. And we tried a million different things before making the decision. Another big thoughtful part of this was the top can. You will see that it's agnostic of color.
Mm-hmm.
That is intentional because the tequila can be used for different bottom flavors, right? Not just for the margarita, for example. The vodka that you have there can be used for different bottom can flavors. So the same vodka is being used for the lemon drop, the espresso, it's being used for the Cosmo. So thinking operationally, it allows us to demand planning, forecasting, and ordering and all of that kind of stuff is really hard to do, especially when you're launching a new brand and you don't really know what the demand's going to look like. So we wanted to minimize the amount of roadblocks we would have in that process. And one of those items that allowed us to decide and think that way is making the top can color agnostic.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let's walk through this bad boy. So
Okay.
this thing pops off
Perfect.
pretty
Yes.
easily. Okay.
So I'm going to walk you through what you're holding. On the top can, you are holding a French wheat vodka, a double shot. This one's going to be a very smooth vodka. So let's go ahead and open it. On mine, I am holding a tequila reposado from Jalisco, Mexico. It's going to be num 1623, additive free. So again, we're very, very picky with the type of spirit that we put on the top can for our margarita, for any cocktail, honestly. And the reason is because we think that one of the secrets of a good cocktail is having good spirits. So because we separate the ingredients, it allows us to really go all in on that.
Yeah.
The bottom can is going to have, yours is going to have an espresso martini mix that is made of Jamaican and Arabica coffee with a little bit of salt and caramel. We like to stay with very classic flavors because we built this so you can personalize. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So go ahead and take off the lid completely.
Okay.
So the first thing is make sure that both of them don't have a lid anymore.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. Now you're going to notice that the bottom can is going to be what we call short filled. So it's going to be filled up to like probably around here. Mm-hmm. And that's intentional because we want to make sure that the double shot fits in there.
Yeah. That was actually my concern when I got it. I was like, is this can going to be all the way filled?
Yeah. So, okay. So you're going to pour the top can into the bottom.
Okay. All of it?
All of it.
Oh, man. Okay.
And then one key step here is you're going to add ice. Now, you may already have your can cold, but when you see a bartender shake a cocktail in a shaker, they have ice because there's a reaction that happens when the drink is mixing in the shaker that you want to replicate here. So make sure you add some ice to the bottom can.
Okay.
And now you're going to snap the top can to the bottom again.
Okay.
And here's the fun part. Now you shake. So make sure for you and for me, because we have an espresso and a margarita, we are going to have something very unique to these types of drinks, which is going to be the foam. So I have with me 2 glasses.
Yeah. So just so everyone knows, I'm recording this in my office. I completely spaced bringing the glasses with me. So you're going to have to watch Tatiana do this.
Yeah. And then the other thing I really love, by the way, I've never bartendered, but I love to throw it in the air and catch it. It will not spill. It will not separate. And it's like the coolest party trick.
So I just flip it up in the air.
Yeah, come on. You got it. You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I like to tap a little bit just because for me, the margarita and for you, the espresso are going to have foam, which is just like you would from a good margarita at your favorite Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, so you can see in here the foam.
Yeah. And that's it. Now you have a perfectly shaken, recently crafted cocktail.
All right. I'm going to pour a little bit just into my little tiny cup here just because I wanted to pour it. Just to see. I can't believe I forgot a glass. But yeah, cheers. So I have the espresso. You have what now?
I have the margarita.
All right. Let's give it a shot. That is incredibly tasty. I love coffee. I'm a massive coffee fan.
One of the important things of trying our espresso is to like coffee.
Yeah. But it's I'm not like a connoisseur, so I like packaging. But this is like incredibly drinkable. Like it's the espresso isn't harsh. Sometimes espresso can be a little bitter, kind of coffee. I don't know if vodka takes that out of it or not, but it's really good.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because a lot of times when we do tastings, the number one comment we get is, "Oh, it actually tastes good."
Exactly.
And it's interesting because people are expecting premixed drinks to not taste good, which to me, that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that in the alcohol industry, the only growing category is RTD, and yet people expect it to not taste good. So imagine with a good tasting RTD, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, thank you for the demo and walking through that. I'll leave this with two questions for you. All right. Number one, because we're already at 20 minutes, which is insane. These always go by really fast for me. I guess I'll ask you this question. What is one thing that you wish everybody knew about Toucan cocktails that you're like, they don't really know about? It could be how difficult it was to engineer the plastic ring, or the brand, or getting it classified. And I don't know, like, what's something that you would say you just wish everybody knew about the company or about the brand? And the second question will be, where do people buy it? Because they should.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I have a lot of thoughts that are coming to mind to answer the first question.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the product versus part of what I'll tell you two things for that, actually.
Yeah, please. Let's do it.
Number one is we're a tiny, small team. We're 5 that are building literally a dream from scratch in a very, in a legacy-driven industry. So it is, incredible to see what we've accomplished so far, and we're very excited to continue to grow that. But a lot of people think we're owned by a Brink brand or that we're already a big company, and it's really, when you're messaging me on Instagram or messaging Toucan, you're really messaging me. When you're commenting, all of us are looking at the messages because we are building this from our heart, which is a differentiator. But the other thing, consumer facing, is we really want to just create good tasting cocktails. That's the purpose of what we're doing. And the thing that people don't realize is that we have 6 flavors, but what we have here is the technology of a to-go shaker, which means you can personalize it any way you want. I like to add a little bit of beer to my margarita. I don't drink beer. I love a dark beer, just a little bit with my margarita, and I make it a beerita. Delicious. For the espresso martini, if you're not huge on a very bold coffee flavor, I add some Baileys before shaking.
Oh, that would be good.
So you have the ability of really customize and create as much as you want to with what we created. And then to answer your last question, you can find us in liquor stores in the 11 states that we currently have distribution in. I'm going to try to say them, but sometimes I forget all of them. So the best way to do is go to our website, toucancocktails.com. And we have a section of where to buy. You can add your zip code in there and it'll show you your nearest location. Or if we don't have distribution in your state, we can also deliver to your house.
Yeah, unless you're in Utah, but that's
another. You're in Utah or other states.
Separate topic. You can drive up to Wyoming, I think, but for sure, again, shout out to the Cork and Bottle. That's how I found it. I was at my parents' house. I typed in their zip code. It popped up, and sure enough, I was like, Dad, you got to go try this. And he was like, this is awesome. So you've got 2 fans now.
That's awesome.
2 fans for 2 cans. Okay, so toucancocktails.com, right? With an S?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. Instagram, is it at Toucan Cocktails?
Yep. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We do have a lot of viral videos from literally just customers that walked into a store, grabbed the product, created a video, and their video went viral. So if you have any interest, if you're listening to us today and have any interest on possibly going viral by shaking a cocktail, give us a try and upload a video.
You know what's funny is I made a video just on TikTok randomly. I was in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and I ordered a beer and they filled it from the bottom. And I was like, what is this? And so I went up and I recorded it, and she was like, this is what it is. And they had a little floater, basically like like a stopper on the bottom that popped up, and it filled the beer. And then when you picked it up, the stopper came down, and then you just drink your beer. I just videoed it. It was like 30 seconds. I think it has 1.1 million views on TikTok. It's crazy. And you guys have a very TikTokable product. And so before this interview actually launches, I will have posted my kind of experience with the first time that I got to enjoy this. Prior to, I had one of these a couple days ago, actually, the lemon drop martini, I think is what it was. Awesome. And it was exciting because my wife had just gotten back from Italy, where they have a ton of lemon everything. And so she got to try it, and she was like, "It's really good."
I can't wait to see the video.
Yeah, I will. It'll be posted before this interview comes out. But Tatiana, I really appreciate, number one, you coming on the show. Number two, just being part of a team that has built a really cool product. There's so much stuff that happens in the world on a daily basis, and just being able to have like innovative, scrappy, cool people who are like, you know what, we're just going to be focused on bringing joy and creating something new. I have a line where I say creation and creativity is the most divine thing about humanity. So I love that you guys have leaned into that. And cheers to Toucan cocktails. Everybody go check them out. toucancocktails.com. Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you.